Jeff Bakalar.
Mikey, what's up, pal? How you doing?
I'm doing good. This is Control Resonant. Specifically, this is my gameplay footage from when we took a peek at this. Both you and I got to play a good chunk of this game at the recent SGF.
That's
event.
right. We were in a very cool room with our own little PS5 Pro, and we kind of we're cubicle buddies checking out this new game.
Yeah, and as you kind of see, you're this guy Dylan, and you're in Manhattan. It's been overtaken by baddies, and you're gonna go around and smash them. They kind of let us record sort of halfway through the demo. That's what you're seeing here. So I have a few abilities. You kind of see my weapon. Earlier on, you kind of get a choice of like what you want your primary weapon to kind of look like. And I picked this sort of, I don't know what I call it. It's like a hammer axe. It's kind of like a hack, an axe. That's sort of my thing here. It was good against single targets. I don't know if you went with something different.
Yeah, you got kind of like a street sign here, it looks like.
Yeah,
almost.
that's good putting it.
So I chose the thing that was a little like more of like a Blades of Chaos sort of weapon, where it had a bit more range. And I thought that was like a cool part. The fact that, especially early in the early goings, you do have a bit of agency into how you want to customize your melee sort of strategy, which I thought was fun.
And just now you saw me pick my secondary melee attack. You saw there was different choices there. One was like a hammer. I went with this drill. When I just kind of hold down the button, I sort of drill into enemies, and I was a big fan of this drill. I used this thing a ton. It felt really good.
Yeah, I think the big thing that we're not talking about is sort of like kind of how crazy it is. Not crazy, but usually from where I'm standing, a welcome departure. Like, I think it's awesome that this game is not third-person shooting.
You know, it's funny, when they announced it, like, I was a little skeptical because I liked Control a lot, and I thought the third-person shooting was so good. So I was like, oh, they're doing a different genre. It's going to be just a melee action game. It's really bold, but it felt really good here. I thought the combat felt fantastic.
Yeah, I'm impressed. Look, I enjoyed the gameplay of playing, the third-person shooting. I thought all that stuff was super strong, especially, there is a hybrid stuff. You do have like telekinesis stuff, and you're sort of swapping back and forth. And I would be surprised if you make this, you make it through the whole campaign and don't shoot anything. I gotta imagine. Again, maybe not. I don't know, but
maybe you have these kind of. You'll see later we have some abilities, and some of that kind of replicates range stuff. So that will show up. All these floating people are so creepy. Jesus.
So that was the thing, right? Like, I was concerned. There were like two details that I wanted answered. Number one was like, oh, was this pivot to like, especially here in the early goings, was the pivot to action the move, right? Is that going to go over well? And then my second question was like, all right, you're not in the, oldest house anymore. Is there still enough of like the weird control kind of trappings that make this interesting? And I think even in the hour and a half that we played, I think the answer to the latter is yes. I think there's enough weird shit going on that you're going to be well served, almost to the effect of like, man, maybe the oldest house was like handcuffing us a little bit.
Oh, constricted. Yeah, it's interesting to see it open up here. And yeah, I've had some people ask me like, oh, does it still feel like Control? And yeah, absolutely. Still 100% has those weird vibes. I don't know if it's going to show up here, but there's still like a live action vignette that shows up, stuff like that. All of that weird Twin Peaks-esque, bizarro, multi-dimension stuff. And even aside from like just the tone, I really liked the platforming, just the kind of moving around, the jumping in Control 1, and this game has tons of that as well. I think you saw it there. I think I get some more movement abilities, but yeah, like jumping around, moving around, that's a big part of the gameplay loop too.
And I think like they kind of in a really smart way found, it's almost like this game just sort of takes place in the Control universe, right? Where it's a sequel, but it certainly is cut from a bit of a different cloth. It's it's just not like a one-to-one thing. Like playing.
I mean,
this,
new character,
Yeah.
new genre. Yeah, for sure.
and again, like for me, I was worried. I was like, man, I'm fine with New York, of course, but like, are we gonna have like objects of power? Are we gonna have like all that SPC stuff? Like, I just want to make sure like those boxes are checked, and everything that I can tell, especially from this boss fight, that like we are gonna be well served if you're looking for the inexplicable, strange oddities that were within the halls of the oldest house. I was really jazzed. This is a cool visual too here. These pigeons flying.
Right, and it's actually kind of like it's the yellow paint a little bit here. It's sort of telling you which way to go.
Yeah.
I think that's a really neat way of doing it.
I'll get back up and meet you on the other side.
God, it's a pretty looking game. Looking back at this footage, I'm like, yeah, this is nice to look at.
Tell me exactly.
So we were playing on PS5 Pro, right? I believe that's what we were playing on.
Yes, they did say that, right? Which, as somebody who doesn't have one, I'm like, oh, that's a fun treat for me.
Yeah, same. Not that I'm gonna get one anytime soon, but playing it on PS5 Pro, having it perform and look as good as it did here, obviously made me feel comfortable in knowing like this thing's gonna rip on PC if you've got the hardware for sure.
Oh, sure. Like we saw Jesse from the last game there, kind of just showing up. That is so not just Control. That's Alan Wake even. That's this whole sort of Remedy universe. That's how these games look. I mean, this right here is so. This is so Control.
Yeah, for sure. And again, like I was joking about this. I forget when I was saying this, but like, regardless, I'm gonna have to watch an explainer. I'm gonna have to like really, sit down with a glass of wine and watch, a couple of YouTube essays on like just what the hell is going on in these two games.
It's hard to parse. Sometimes I worry with these kind of games. Like, I hope we're building to something. I hope it's not just everything's kind of crazy and weird, and there's never really a conclusion. It just gets crazier and weirder. I like the idea of keeping this universe open and letting there be possibilities. But, the Control 1 basically ends on kind of a non-ending, and that was fine. The Alan Wake games have all been cliffhangers. I do hope at some point we get something where, hey, there could be more, but this could also maybe be an end of sorts. And I don't know if it's this game that happens, though.
Right. I kind of overhear people's sort of, conversations about how they regard Remedy in that light of like, their games are so fun, but who can understand them kind of stuff. And it's like, look, I get it. That's fair. There's a lot of media out there that is not super accessible from a narrative point of view. And, I do understand the idea of like, I shouldn't have to do research when I'm done to understand what I saw. That's fine. I also think like they, I think it depends on like the game, right? I think Alan Wake 2 presented in a sort of expositional way that was maybe a little easier to follow, and obviously there's overlap, right? But like Controls does seem to exist in this world of like, you're just kind of bombarded with a lot of stuff that you will understand the visual cues and those hallmarks, but there is a lot to really wrap your head around, and your mileage may vary on how much of that you actually ingest in a cohesive way.
So we're getting some new movement abilities here. I got a double jump, and now I have the elevate as well. So again, just a ton of movement open up to you in the very beginning. You can see me clearing these really wide gaps. A lot of vertical movement, a lot of horizontal movement. That's what I like to see. It feels good.
And what doesn't feel good is are you like me where like if there's a barefoot character, you're just like, oh god, oh god, oh you're stepping on so much glass.
I didn't think about it until you said something now. Oh, you can see my loadout here a little bit. Yeah. You were not a Lune fan in Expedition 33.
Well, she kind of floated though too, right?
She kind of kept them clean. That's smart.
Keep them clean. Keep those toesies clean, and just sort of hover a couple inches off the ground. You're gonna do just fine.
Yeah, I mean this guy. I mean, there's a lot of people floating around, right? That had shoes. They don't need those shoes anymore.
No.
I think. Dylan should have just taken some of those. Would have been fine.
Right?
Would have been fine. I love this dash effect with like the weird kind of echoes behind you. Looks super cool.
Yeah, there's just nothing from a fidelity sort of point of view. There's just nothing really out there, that looks the way these Remedy games sort of look, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they are just cool to look at. There's like other elements we haven't heard about yet that we expect from these games. I don't think we've seen the janitor show up at all. We don't have the band, the old gods of Asgard yet. I assume we're going to see those elements at some point.
So was the band in the first one?
They were. They sang that song "Control" when you ran through a maze at one point.
That one?
That's right. That was them. Yeah.
Okay, because they're sort of like they're a bit of a metal act, and I'm into it.
I was trying to figure out what this like weird Super Famicom game it seems like they are playing. It almost looks Dragon Questy to me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
with the logo, with the pointy tips there. Yeah,
Look at that.
It's fun.
Woo, big jump. I missed it. I fucked up. Shit.
The cool part is like, I do like, especially with the amount of like insane traversal at your disposal, you sort of can, I feel like you're just always like, oh, I bet I can just hoof this. I bet I can just like actually make this and not, have to follow any kind of like set path to a thing, which is kind of cool because I remember in the first game, maybe the sort of like enclosed space of it all didn't really feel like you had as much agency as, especially in the early goings here, it appears that are at your disposal is kind of exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I know that game got compared to Metroidvanias, and I get it, but, got a lot of relatively tight quarters kind of moving you around. This is definitely opening up more, for sure. I do remember something from the Control 1 story, like they were kids, they had a magic slide projector, and something bad happened with that.
Because that was like an object of power, right?
Right. Yeah. And then the FBC like took Dylan and imprisoned him and trained him to try to become their new director. And then when that didn't work out, they just imprisoned him. I kind of wonder this game's going to explore a bit more of hey, the FBC kind of sucks, right?
Yeah.
They're not nice.
Well, what's funny is the way they're kind of introduced in the beginning here is like they don't seem to be running the show really. Like,
yeah.
Even they've got agents spread out across Manhattan, and they're just sort of like, this is bigger than the Hiss, right?
Yeah,
like,
they are not in control of this situation.
Yeah, like they appear to be, and I feel like the Hiss, right? Like, am I wrong? Where like they're sort of implying like the Hiss has either taken a new sort of form, or it's not what they thought it was. There's stuff there.
There's like something else aside from the Hiss, and it might be connected to what Jessie's doing, because it seems like Jessie's kind of just gone off and done her own thing, and that's why Dylan's sort of looking for her, seeing what's going up. Yeah. So there are definitely some threads here to be pulled and see what's going on. God, that red looks so good. They have such a good red.
Yeah.
What was that?
I mean, it's like the only color I think of in the first Control, right? Like,
You
it's
should know
just
the FBC doesn't officially endorse
so
the saying,
much
"The
of
enemy
that.
of my enemy is my friend."
I do think it's cool, like, Manhattan as the backdrop, like it's, especially with the sort of like, like the old houseification of the streets of Manhattan, where you get this like Inception effect.
Yeah, and Manhattan just is a cool. All these brick buildings, right? Something about them, and just all these pipes and everything, the graffiti. It's a cool looking city the way that they're doing it here.
Approaching the gallery now. Oh my god. I'm seeing.
With all these games, like there's, like this is the time of the game where like it's giving you hints, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you're gonna see so much of this stuff at the end. I promise you.
That's a very normal face.
Yeah, do they explain like what this mannequin woman is? Like, I don't know if I got that. It's a resonant
I was trying to
entity.
figure out if is it supposed to look like Jessie, or am I imagining that? I don't know.
I don't know.
But you're in like an art museum, so I think it's just like some art piece that's been turned into an object of power. But yeah, this is the boss fight, and Lots of it's pretty cool. I do feel like the drill kind of demolished this thing a bit, especially because I can do it aerial and avoid some of its attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had people ask like, what kind of action game is this? Is it like a Dark Souls like? It's more like a Devil May Cry or maybe God of War. Definitely not Dark Souls. It's definitely faster paced than that. There's some dodging out of the way of abilities. But it feels pretty fast-paced. It feels a bit more in the character action thing. Maybe a bit more in that God of War thing, especially once you get more of those kind of special abilities, which we're maybe not going to see a lot of here. Oh, this part rules.
Yeah, this was fun. Yeah, I think it's... it took me 2 times to beat the boss. I think, like, there is... there's a certain level of, like, unforgiveness that these... games, the first Control, like it gets hard. Like there's
I died plenty of times in that game. Yeah,
like there's definitely parts where you're like, oh, I just have to come back to this. Oh man, her eyes are like crossed looking at you. That's real.
I know, it's fucked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this drill felt so, like there's no way I'm not gonna use this drill when I get it. Yeah, you kind of have finisher moves. Enemies do have these kind of like stamina bars so you can deplete to do massive damage. Massive damage, like they're an enemy crab. Remember those jokes? Giant enemy crabs? I'm bringing it back.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, that's a really fun boss fight. I liked it a lot. We're kind of running out of the time here, but yeah, I really enjoyed that demo, Bakalar. Anything else you wanted to maybe say about it?
No, I think there's like a ton of stuff to be excited about, especially with like the bit of the pivot that's happening in this one. For me, it's definitely reinvigorated my interest, and I'm obviously a huge fan of the Remedy stuff, but seeing it go in this sort of alternate direction, running a bit parallel to the first, but sort of defining its own path at the same time, it rules, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely one of my more anticipated games for the rest of the year. I'm looking forward to that full release in September. All right, thanks for talking over this one with me, Jerf.
You got it, Mike.
All right, see y'all later.